MeTV 24 Meridian proudly presents your favorite way to start the day. Welcome to Mornings with Scotty Ray and Candace.
Whoop, and good morning, Scotty Ray and Candace. Thursday is our day.
It is.
77 as we wait for a high of 98, but to top that off, it's going to get worse than that. 107, 108 on the heat index side.
I saw where we're going to have an actual temperature of 102 coming up pretty soon.
Yeah, 103. I'm showing that coming up the 22nd, 23rd, right along in there. We'll share that in a little while to let you know to be prepared as you look for your tube tops and anything that is thin to keep cool in the south.
I'm going to tell you, it is smothery hot. Like I said yesterday, last night, I mean, even at like 10 o'clock at night, I was sweeping in the laundry and I opened the door and it just hits you when you open the door.
It does.
You know, so.
It grabs you and does a smackdown on you, I think is the word. We bring sad news today, and if you haven't heard this yet, we thought we would share this as we begin our day of the wreck that happened by the Evangel Temple last week, or this week rather. I think it was Monday right around 12:30. We got word that there had been a head-on wreck, and then as people started showing up, it was just past the church, just south of there. We did have somebody that lost their lives, and we sent out condolences to the Mooney family. Joel Mooney passed away instantly at that wreck. Yes. And then late yesterday, we find out that a second person has died from that wreck. We pass along condolences to Andrew Sharp, who is the driver of the second vehicle, who has passed away in that accident.
Yes.
Horrible. Right. And it does affect everybody from now on, because a piece of their lives are gone, someone that was a part of their family, and we pass along prayers to y'all.
Yes, we do.
The Clarkdale community was hit hard by that.
Yes. Prayers for their families, for sure.
Yeah, without a doubt there. We had a boo-boo of, I guess it was, trying to get out. Got hung up yesterday. Let's just go ahead and show you some pictures. I started getting text of, hey, traffic is backed up on Highway 19. What is the problem? And, well, as we go to our Facebook page, this was the issue yesterday afternoon, as we see here, trying to pull out there, and it got kind of hung up.
Is that one of the...
It was a delivery truck.
I mean, how did it get one of the jack things? Hit the ground or something?
That's what it looks like, but I couldn't bet your life on it.
That's scary, though. I mean, that's a...
It was hung. It drug. It grounded out, so to speak, there. So that's what held you up if you were floating along there on Highway 19 yesterday afternoon.
Nobody was hurt, though.
Yeah. And I also brought this up yesterday afternoon. Highway 39. It's always a little fender bender there by Hardee's and over by Jan in her neighborhood and folks that live in there. The traffic lights went out.
Oh, gosh.
And we didn't have anybody there quick enough to go, hey, wait a minute. We happen to have somebody that started out that used to do that for a living. Yeah. Let's go to our traffic director over here. Hey, Chris.
How are you doing? I'm doing good.
So have you ever had to do that as a policeman back in the day of the directing traffic?
Oh, yes. Yeah. That's a lot of pressure, too, because you didn't want to mess up, especially when your superior was standing there watching you. Why are you directing them going that way? You don't do. They go first. They go next. And a lot of pressure.
Yeah, I bet it is, honestly.
That is an awful spot, though, to get the traffic lights to go out. I mean, that's a horrible.
Yeah.
When they're working, it's a bad.
Yeah. It's just the fact of you standing there and you're the ones that is controlling everything. You're controlling the traffic. They have to do as directed, and it makes you nervous. It did me.
I was glancing at the sign behind you, the Reader's Choice Award. I saw where they were nominating folks for that again. Could it be that Chris could be nominated for Man of the Year twice?
I don't know.
I'm going to say I doubt that. But I wonder if I will be able to wear the banner, and then whoever gets selected, that I can hand it off to them with some flowers and kiss them on the cheek.
I'm going to call the Meridian Star and ask them if they'll do that, because they come out last year and we discussed all that. We can have a ceremony right here.
Yeah, we can do it. We can do it live, and I'd actually dress up, and put the little banner.
You in Virginia do that walk down it and hand it off.
Exactly.
So that is coming up. I think they are taking nominations now through, I think, July 4th.
Okay.
So nominate. Who do you think? It's a lot of different categories. And then sometime during the summer you get to vote. I'll have to go back and look at that.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's already just about been a year.
I have to say this, the behind the scenes, and you're supposed to bestow upon me weather marshal today.
Right. You want me to swear you in?
I think you should.
Yeah.
And that was a big joke. I had somebody jump on me a few weeks ago and accused they wanted to know if I thought I was Walker Texas Ranger as I report the news. So it was a joke between Chris and I when I put that badge up there. It was kind of funny.
Yeah. Well, you wear different types of badges on the Scotty Ray Report. So you got multiple jobs you have to take on.
It's a little here. It's a little there.
Weather / Lima / law enforcement.
The list goes on with things.
On and on.
Informer.
Yeah. I have to say this, and Chris, I want you to admit that I was right on this. 20 years ago, my wife still does not believe me. It would have killed 10 ordinary men. I had hernia surgery.
Oh.
And it was, y'all, when I tell you, I almost think it was worse than the heart attack I had where they split me from here all the way down. That hernia, And Chris, you've had it now.
Yeah, this is actually a week today, and we were talking about it before the show that I had it last Thursday, and I've had this since about 2017, and just the stubbornness and knowing how men can't handle sickness and pain and
stuff.
Well,
it ain't ordinary. It's above average pain.
Yeah, we're babies, but whenever they brought, and I know we'll get into it, Officer Croom's body back from Jackson, and then everybody was on the supporters were on the bridges and stuff as he passed through. That was on Friday, the day before I had it. I was actually out there and came out there to just show my support, but I was high. I was under the influence. My wife had to take me and get me out
you over there
and walk me over there. And then I think we got our picture taken. Well, I'll put my arm around you, not only because I like you, but I had to because I just felt like I was floating away. But you talking about utter pain, I didn't know that you had to use your core muscles to blink, but it absolutely hurts even when I blink. So, but
that's what we were talking about, though. You just don't realize how much you use those muscles in your abdominal area.
It's just a pulling sensation.
To Scuba, Mississippi. At that time, we had an issue with our fireplace in our two-story house up there, and I was bored, and so I went outside and sat in a lawn chair to watch them work. And then when I wanted to go inside, no one was there, and I had to stay in that chair for 2.5 hours till they remembered I was still outside because I couldn't get up.
Oh, it's I slept the first couple of nights in the recliner. Just sitting straight up on my back, and it was just excruciating. But it's getting better. But when I feel like that I'm kind of fine and all that, I'll turn a certain way, and then it just gives me a reality check that I'm still
Folks
a baby.
Just don't know.
I bet he's a hater of these stairs.
I didn't even think about the staircase leading to
If you see scratch marks going up next to the wall, don't worry about that. I'll paint it at a later date.
But that is tough for those who have never been through that before. It's worse on a man. Men just can't handle this.
No, can't.
And why that's been
admit it. I'm a baby.
Us.
Call me what you want. I can't handle it.
I'm not gonna lie. I know that each of y'all have had Michael Jackson CDs, but I pulled a muscle in my back working in the new studio, and I hit a bump coming back from the Meridian Police Department yesterday, and I let out a Michael Jackson scream.
Look, you don't have to pull a muscle, and you drive down 22nd Avenue, you're going to scream.
Oh yeah, I mean
that was but I'm taking more Tylenol until this finally goes away. We are going to be in a new studio before long, y'all. This is coming along. Sheetrockers are getting at it, and we'll be able to start building our studios and putting our new equipment over there.
Yes.
Fingers crossed.
It's looking good.
Been waiting on Chris Reed to show up to do something. It ain't happened yet.
Give me a few more weeks.
I do want to say a big thank you to a couple of businesses that went out of their way yesterday to do a little something special for our police officers.
Most definitely.
The Back Porch of Meridian, located out on Highway 19. Also, the Jimmy Rogers Foundation. They pitched in, and the guys from the Back Porch went out and cooked. Let me pull this up where you can take a look here. The police officers, they fed them yesterday afternoon, just as a thank you. As you'll go through this is the different pics of the police department yesterday afternoon, as they were lined up getting them a little something to eat there.
It was really nice.
Yeah, it was, and they didn't have to do that. It was above all and just a nice gesture to do. Big thank you. There's our sponsors that done that, including Mitchell, above and beyond. as they were cooking. I've never seen a grill like that. Have y'all?
We went out there and looked at all the grills. They have got some really, really neat grills.
But that's unique. So if you've never seen one of those, they got those also at the back porch there. But a behind the scenes thank you to the Meridian Police Department for what they do every day, and that's what it takes. So
yeah, and I'll tell you that goes a long way. Even though you may not have officers calling in and speaking up or whatever, trust me when I say this. Been there, done that. It speaks volumes to saying, you know what? There's a lot of negative out there, and there's a lot of negative that goes with this job. But the support that law enforcement has, especially in the South, that quit listening to all the narratives that's on national TV and some local, but there's more people that support law enforcement and what they do versus the negative. The negatives are the ones that just speak out.
That's true.
You see what I'm saying?
They got a higher pitch.
Exactly. But the silent majority is actually true. The silent majority is out there, but you're starting to see them coming in the forefront, and people out in the community that I call community leaders are actually leading that. So it's appreciated by law enforcement, most definitely.
Look at Denise recognizing Cooper Huff in the background there, grilling it up. And Cooper worked a lot there behind the scenes there, stepping and fetching to help the police officers. Big thank you to Cooper.
Yeah, and he does it, and I've talked to him several times. He does it for the right reasons.
Yes.
There's some ulterior motives out there, but so hats off to him and others that prepare this, and the Mitchells, and my goodness, I can go on and on.
Jennifer Gilbert agrees with us. She said she had back fusion. It lasted 7 years, the pain. Bless her heart. Ooh.
No, absolutely not. I would not do that. Choose not to. I couldn't do it.
And Denise has a good point here. I didn't catch that. It's if it's your garbage day, put your garbage cans out earlier because of the heat. The guys are starting earlier in the morning to try to beat this so they'd be off the streets when it's so darn hot.
Yeah, they're out there all day long, I would imagine.
That's somebody's job that is just sometimes overlooked. We need to salute those garbage guys. Y'all do. Right. Mm-hmm. Ain't no shade up on that.
I know. Even in the wintertime when it's freezing cold.
Have you ever thought of riding on the back of the garbage truck and let me video it for a little while to see if you can do it?
No. I mean, I probably could do it now.
I've even watched the little water
But I have
guys
gave them hand warmers, like pull up and roll down the window and go here.
They want a snow cone
in the wintertime.
They want snow cones.
Yeah, they want
now.
some snow cones or some ice today, I'm sure. So.
Joy says she's had 3 back surgeries. Woo-wee.
People are saying that they've gone through 7 years of chronic pain. I just cannot imagine. Like I said, I had it last Thursday. I think Saturday was my first day that I coughed.
Yeah.
And I lost consciousness.
It's horrible, isn't it?
Oh, and I came back. Usually about 15 minutes later, I came back too. But that's what I feared, was having to sneeze or cough.
Yeah, and I remember when I come back from the heart surgery, and of course, anything that moves in here, and I feel a cough coming on, and I go, and they made fun of me so bad around here about my little,
If I laugh hard, it'll talk to him. He said, "Hey, I'm still down here."
More on the way as we begin your Thursday morning. Chris Reed, our special guest this morning, as we'll discuss a little politics as we get the day going, and we'll also talk about Officer Croom, who lost his life. We've got a lot to talk about today. All that's on the way. Y'all don't go anywhere. You'll enjoy today's show. All coming up. Spring is here, and it's time to quit spending all of your weekend cutting grass when you could step up to a Skag zero-turn mower. Freeman Tractor in Collinsville has the #1 rated zero-turn mower, Skag, with cutting widths from 36 inches to 72 inches. Skag, the #1 choice of professional landscapers, because they know nothing outcuts or outlasts a Skag. 0% financing for 48 months with payments starting as low as $129 a month. Stop by Freeman Tractor on Highway 494 and see coleslaw or buttermilk. Rockhouse Gun and Pawn is having a 10-year anniversary celebration blowout. Absolutely no sales tax on used firearms. 25% off all gun cleaning and gun care accessories. And a free box of ammo with every purchase of a new Glock pistol. 50% off all pawn electronics. 50% off on pawn tools. 25% off on all jewelry. Huge markdowns throughout the store. It's the Rockhouse 10-year anniversary celebration blowout. 5430 Highway 19 North.
My dad was a farmer. My granddaddy, too. I was always pretty proud of that. When my truck was hit by a company vehicle, I thought I was going to have to sell the farm. Thanks to Richard Swartz, I didn't have to.
I'm here for you. One call, that's all.
And welcome back with Scotty Ray and Candace, our special guest, Chris Reed, who joins us. This is probably the darkest week that we've had in Meridian for quite some time, as we found out, as I made that post, Officer down that evening. It has been tragic that we lose one of our own, and you worked with him, Chris.
Yeah, it is. I had the opportunity, and I think I posted on social media last week of whenever I was chief in that short period to actually hire Candace, and I remember our I think celebrating, had a veterans parade in downtown, and there was some citizens that had a horse and carriage, and I didn't know, but Candace had worked mounted patrol in his previous law enforcement agent. And so he came to me and he said, man, wish we had horses for mounted patrol. And I said, well, I've been thinking about that. And so that's how the whole mounted patrol came back, and for public relations and things of that nature. So he was our first officer on mounted patrol. And when it got started, he had gone through some things personally and wasn't able to remain on that unit. But my goodness, during that short time, he would come out every day at my house and ride with my daughter. My daughter, she did rodeo and won some events and things and rodeo and stuff. And we were having an issue with one of the horses, and so he would help her, and she would try to correct some issues. And so they rode together. So yeah, so fast forwarding to this past week in the tragedy, it is definitely unfortunate. We all know in law enforcement that could happen, but then when it actually does happen, it has a huge effect psychologically, mentally, and which has an effect physically on law enforcement as a whole. And it was just devastating. Even though I wasn't the chief when it happened, my goodness, it's a tough week. For that to happen, and I just, my condolences to his family, and his biggest saying every time we would talk, his biggest saying was bet, and I'm going, man, that's your answer to everything, bet. And he'd laugh, and he had a unique laugh, and the officers would know what I'm talking about. But yeah, it's life is short, and you just don't know from day to day. What
and he
could
just
happen.
happened to respond. He got there first to the scene. If I'm
right, from my understanding,
correctly.
he got there first. And usually, when I say usually, it is on a domestic, on a disturbance, on shots fired, but especially domestic is we usually. When we had the personnel, we would wait for backup to arrive.
Right.
And so dispatch would dispatch a primary unit, and then they say, hey, we need a 32 for such and such officer or whatever. And they say, and usually 32 is backup. So usually that backup officer would call, says, hey, so-and-so, I'm 2 minutes out, just stand by. In fact, I'm coming around the corner or whatever, and stand by. So when we had the personnel, when we had the manpower, and you should never go in to anything alone. And also, I'm not going to get into the part of this that you always want to try to armchair quarterback the situation about what I would have done if I was there. You can what if those things, and I'm just not going to do that. But yeah, you should have backup.
I don't even know in that situation would backup have even been a
and look,
help.
Nothing's foolproof.
Right.
You're right, Candace. Nothing is foolproof. But we try to do things logistically and operationally to prevent as much as possible.
Right.
But nothing is foolproof. But you still.
And I don't want to in any way take away from the special moment that we're going to have today at Meridian High School at 1 o'clock as they celebrate the life of him. But boy, the community has really spoken out about our leaders and how this has been handled. And I think the word is lack of. We really have not. We had a brief press conference. Mm-hmm. No questions were asked. It was 3 minutes long, I think. We couldn't ask anything. Publicly, I haven't heard the mayor step forward, say anything. And the community whether the police chief likes it or the mayor likes it, the community is not happy about this.
Yeah. So you brought it up. All right.
Yeah,
I want to make sure. Can you hear this mic? Is it on?
What are you thinking, Chris?
I think, and I know just from the outpouring of texts and calls that I've received from the citizens. I'm a citizen just like everybody. Law enforcement personnel, they're citizens here in Meridian and Lauderdale County. They're not. It's devastating. At what happened and the tragedy that happened. The citizens aren't upset at the police chief or the mayor or the city council because this tragedy happened under their watch. They're upset at the response or the lack thereof.
After the fact.
And look, in a leadership position, the bad come with the good. Everybody wants to be a leader when everything's going good. But not everybody's a leader when you have to deal with the difficult things and the tragedies and stuff. But that's what makes a true leader, period, plain and simple. Listen, Scotty, if a man or a woman dies on my watch, if I have to write what I need to say on a piece of paper and it takes 3 minutes to do that, I need to examine myself.
I agree with that.
Plain and simple. Plain and simple, period. I don't care who it is. Now, I'm not attacking the chief, but it is your responsibility to stand up, take the tough questions, and explain and take the blame if there's any fault or anything like that. That's part of being a leader. Not only the good, but the bad also, and the tragedies and the negatives. It goes with the territory. You have to be able to handle that. You're not perfect. You're not going to be perfect as a chief. As a chief of police or a mayor, all right, what comes with that territory is blame and being your fault. You have to be a leader enough to take
some
that.
black eyes.
You know, talking about questions, though, when they said no questions, and then they said that the reason is because it's an ongoing investigation. Well, I can understand. I've heard many conferences where they've asked questions and they'll say, I'm sorry, I can't answer that, but it's an ongoing investigation. But at least give that availability of question asking to people, because
there are other questions.
Right, because there's other questions that could have been answered. Or I don't.
Yeah, true. I get it. You know, whenever I was there, we had I was confronted with a lot of negatives and a lot of issues and stuff, but I had to make myself available. When there's a breakdown in communication,
right.
All right, if I can't get behind the camera and take responsibility, what makes people what makes it where the people have confidence in me catching a murder suspect? If I can't even get behind the camera and take the tough questions. Look, I've done it. Hey, it's me. It's on me. I take responsibility, complete responsibility. But my point is, in regards to this administration, I don't think there's anything. There may not have been anything that could have prevented this, but I really believe that there were some things that this administration could have done logistically, all right, manpower, morale, and all those things that would keep personnel there that would have confidence in doing their job, that could prevent some of these things. I'm a big proponent of preventive maintenance, Scotty Ray, and I've said it so many times. I don't want to wait for something bad to happen before I change, implement, revise, or amend policy. Now, some of those things that were prevented because of my logistical and operational plan, nobody will ever know because the crime wasn't committed and nothing tragic happened. But I'd still rather have it and not need it than need it, not having it. It's too late. Well, yeah, because here's the deal. We're not the one that said 10 months ago that we have a plan. We're not the one that said 10 months ago that myself and the council members are recruiting 100 officers. All right. They have yet to answer where are the 100 officers. I can tell you where the officers and the amount of officers that have left.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. How many have left?
How long are the citizens going to sit back and listen? Hey, Jimmy, you've told us 17 times that you have a plan, but yet have you put it out? You said, not the people, not the citizens. Jimmy, you said in your campaign, I'm not going to be a part-time mayor. Is this still hot?
It's still hot.
And I'm going to have a patrol car going down every street. you have three people on a shift. Of course they're working overtime because y'all don't have a choice because they're so shorthanded. Don't take it from me. Don't take it from Chris Reed. Look at the numbers, look at the facts, and talk to the officers. They'll tell you the same thing. They're wore out. They're spread thin.
How many officers have left, I guess, in the last year?
Well, I said it before, and I don't need a piece of paper to write it down because I live it. All right. We had 74 officers whenever I was there. We had 4 in the academy at the time. We were budgeted for 85 officers at that time. The city budgeted for 85 officers. I had 74, 4 in the academy, and I had 3 sworn officers that were in process of being hired. All right. So when all this has happened, I think now you're looking at 25 to 26 maybe sworn officers. A couple of them are on their way out the door working out their 2 weeks notice now. Is it because of the pay? Absolutely not. Look, they knew what they were making whenever they signed that piece of paper to come on. Everybody knows you don't get in law enforcement or the fire department or first responders to make money. No, if you make good money, is that a positive? Most definitely. But that's not why they're there, and that's why they're not there. Not because of the money. Well, it's because of the leadership or the lack of leadership and the support and saying, I've got your back no matter what.
Right.
Plain and simple. And then seeing all this going on, look.
Yeah, for them to see what has happened in the last week and to see how the response is to it, I would think that would be a big damper put on.
I expected, and I mentioned this morning. Please, somebody tell me if I missed it. A letter from the mayor, a speech saying that flags should be flown at half staff. I've yet to see that.
And I did see Tate Reed.
Yeah, and that was my point. We got that letter yesterday that tomorrow throughout the state of Mississippi, flags will be flown at half staff for the entire state. But we didn't get that on a local level, did we? Did I miss it?
I haven't seen it. I try not to follow. Well, I do follow. I'll take that back. But I haven't seen it yet. Look, the whole thing is this administration, as a mayor, CAO, CFO, chief of police, fire chief, it is your responsibility to communicate to the public and the citizens what's going on in their city and in their county. I always counted the county residents, Lauderdale County, as Meridian citizens. You know why? Because they are taxpayers just like we are. Just because they don't have voters' rights, they're taxpayers just like, and they bring revenue into this city, plain and simple. So they are citizens of Meridian in my eyes. I don't care what anybody says. It's your responsibility as a leader and an administrator to communicate to the public what's going on, what needs to happen. It is your responsibility. If you choose not to do that, you're doing it at your own peril. And it's nobody else's fault. All right. I'm tired of hearing we have a plan. What is your plan?
It's going
to take time. When is a time? When is that time up? So we have a plan, and I'll let you know in 4 years when I'm gone.
Speaking of this, of what everybody said, I think the Meridian area, and y'all tell me if I'm wrong on this, they put a lot of the blame of where Meridian is now in the city council and the mayorship. And come election time, it's going to be a reckoning with what voters do because they see how a vote is very dangerous now.
And that's what I'm thinking. Like, where is I know responsibility. Where is the accountability? Like, when are people going to hold them accountable?
Well, like Scotty said, Candace is in an elected position. You know, they're there until election time.
And let me say this: I want to give kudos, and I mentioned it earlier this morning. The open letter that Billy Solly put out yesterday, I cannot thank him enough for doing that. It was a heartfelt letter that he wrote to the family and the citizens of Lauderdale County, and I appreciate Billy doing that. That was very nice of him to do that. Shouldn't we have seen that from our mayor, maybe our city council, all signed?
Look, Scotty, you had a condolence letter from the chief of police in Jackson that was put out that same night. All right, and you had a response from Tuscaloosa, all right, the city of Tuscaloosa, that same night.
They lit the city hall in blue in honor.
Yeah, the only thing that was communicated that night, nothing communicated to the citizens, but the only thing that I heard that was communicated from 2 administrators, and I'm not going to I'm not going to say their names, but this came from officers, was if you need somebody to talk to, we have Weems. And then the mayor, I didn't say, then he said to them, if you don't know God, you better find him. The last time I checked, hold on, it's still on, right? The last time I checked, God wasn't lost.
Mm-hmm.
It's not.
I don't need to find God. He's not lost. You do not communicate those things in a tragedy like that.
No, you don't.
You don't. If I can't get up there and do a conference that night behind cameras on what's in my heart and what I felt about Officer Croom or anyone else, that I have to have it on a piece of paper and read it and then walk out. People may say, oh, he's just a disgruntled employee. Let me tell you something. God has blessed me more in a circumstance, in a tragedy. You know the old song about he's a God of the mountain, he's a God in the valley. All right, it is true. Vertex Aerospace out at the NES Meridian, they're one of the best companies to ever work for, and I'm proud to be part of that team. So no, I'm not a disgruntled employee. I'm like everybody else. We want answers, we want explanations, and the only explanations we get is I have a plan, and we're recruiting 100. You know, the city council, the legislative branch of the government, city government, they didn't have a problem taking pictures whenever we had an open project and a grand opening of a 3-foot building and stuff on something that was approved by the former administration. They didn't have a problem talking and getting their picture taken then or whatever. All right, with this little 3-minute piece of paper reading, they were standing back there for what? You're the ones that made the decision to change about law enforcement and about public safety when you absolutely have no experience whatsoever. And now when things have gotten so bad, where are you? Mm-hmm. Where are you now? You remember what I said, when you make decisions based on your own personal political agenda, it's going to come back to bite you. And that's what's happened. They're out of sight, out of mind. And you know why? Because 2 out of the 4 of them are going to be running for mayor. One of them even told me that the next day when they voted me out. Hey, what is your future plans? I said, what are you talking about? He says, well, it's politics. I said, man, I have no clue, but I'll see you in 4 years.
Coming up, I've got a letter that was sent in to me, and it is the general consensus of Meridian, and I want to read to you what was sent to me. It's not about race. It's about a Meridianite, and it's just a common man of what his thoughts are. I'm going to share that with us next, so y'all don't rush off. I want you to hear what this man had to say to me. As we turn to talk about Chet, he's one of the greatest guys you'll ever bump into when you get your car taken care of. Chet is there night or day to take care of it. They get your cars in and they get it back on the road for you. Whether it's a dent, a scratch, maybe somebody accidentally was trying to put the key in. Maybe somebody leaned up against your car with Levi's on and scuffed your vehicle. They can fix that. That's happened before. But if it's more serious, maybe you've been T-boned and you want it back and you want the color to match to make it look like, well, that $50,000 that you spent is still well worth it. Mm-hmm. They'll fix it for you. No matter the value, they put it back. They take quality and pride in their work. Honest folks, you'll find them out on 495 737-2961. Whether it's a classic or brand new, they do it all. Insurance claims are welcome. They'll walk you through that. You'll find it there, again, in Center Hill. Drop in and visit with my friends today. That's 737-2961. Visit with them. They'll take care of you on anything that you might need.
At the Back Porch, we're bringing families back together for fun, food, and all the things you love to enjoy around your home. Every event starts with a great grill, great cookware, and accessories. Add in some locally sourced meat and dairy, along with frozen vegetables and casseroles, and over 500 brands of spices and sauces. Relax in our chairs, swings, day beds, and have fun with our cornhole boards. From coolers to trailers, we have everything you need. When you see the big chair, you've made it to the Back Porch.
At the Promised Land Journey, Pastor Bill Freeman will be your tour guide through the world of the biblical times. Roughly 3,000 people take the tour of Lauderdale County's recreation of Moses' Tabernacle, a tour of Christ's crucifixion and burial tomb, as well as a bird's-eye view of first-century Jerusalem in the Holy Land. Schedule a free tour and consider donating to the Promised Land Journey located at Covenant Life Church, 624 Highway 19 North in Collinsville.
Welcome back, Scotty Ray and Candace, and welcome to Meridian as we talk about this. As I mentioned, I had a letter. Now, we found out that the CAO, Tim Miller, is stepping down at the end of the month. I don't have the exact name in front of me, so I don't want to go out on a limb and say the name incorrectly, but I'm being told that Jimmy is going to appoint someone to fill Tim's place. And the citizens are not exactly happy about who he has chosen. And this is straight from Meridian. Somebody that lives in Meridian, and you take away whether where they live, it doesn't matter. This is what it says. Jimmy is inept at being mayor, and now he wants to bring someone who in reality runs the city. We simply can't have two people steering the ship who don't have any experience. Whoever has the money, the people controlling Jimmy, should rethink their decision at this point. And what they're saying is whoever's telling Jimmy what he needs to do. This is the worst I have ever seen Meridian. And it's pathetic and it's disgusting. Meridian is truly a ghetto town now. And I mean by no means am I talking about race. This city is run down, incomplete, disarray. Gone are the days when people took pride in maintaining their property and neighborhoods were neat and calm regardless of their financial standing. Her limited experience is my concern, and a college degree does not ensure success, but a combination of education and knowledge about municipal affairs is something that she is lacking. Meridian is certainly looking at some very dark and dreary days ahead with Jimmy as mayor and our prospective CAO and our current chief of police. It's going to be rough in Meridian. Now, I think maybe the realty, I don't know this person, but that is the thought of the common man in Meridian. The voter of Meridian has sent me that. And this is just one of many letters that I received.
Yeah, and that's a sentiment of a lot of citizens. And once again, in a leadership position, the negatives goes with the positive as well. But
Correct.
You have to be leader enough to be able to handle those things and take those things on, because nothing's perfect. Look, there was crime. Whenever I was a chief, we still had crime. But I think the people knew that if you choose that lifestyle under me, and I was only as successful as who was around me, which were the officers that were proactive. They had that mindset. I didn't get the job done. I was a chief of police, right? The officers are the ones, and the detectives are the ones that got the job done, all right? They're the ones that made me, quote, look good. They're the ones that made the CAO and the mayor look good, because they were motivated and the morale was up, and they were excited about the direction that we were going as a department, because we saw so much instability in years past that now they had someone that they called a leader that knew that I was out there with them. When we had officer-involved shootings, whenever I was the chief, I was there staying all night with them, asking if they need something to drink, something to eat. I was out on the streets serving warrants with them. Why? Because I'm a police officer. I'm no different than they are. I'm just the one that gets the blame for everything. So I'm a buffer between them and the administration and the citizens of Meridian. But I'm no different, and I was no different. Here, even no matter who the mayor is, you have to have a legislative branch, Scotty Ray, which is the council board. You have to have a city council that works with them to go the same direction to get anything accomplished. You're talking about members on the city council board. Listen, put this into perspective. What do we have in the population of City of Meridian is 34 to 37,000. I think 35,000 population now. It was like 42,000. Now it's like 35,000, 80,000 Lauderdale County wide or whatever. You have council members, and you know who you are. All you have to do is Google it, that had 359 votes that got them elected as city council in their ward.
Weak. That's weak.
359 votes. They are the ones that made a decision on public safety when they've never had experience whatsoever. And they made decisions based on their own personal political agenda. Period. And look where we are now. They made a decision on law enforcement when they absolutely have no experience. They never once called the chief of police or anyone to ask about what's going on, what the procedures are, none of that. And they made a decision with 359 votes, and you would see them at their inaugural meeting and conference and saying, just do you. And I've said it before, just do you. No, it's not about you. It's about the citizens of Meridian and Lauderdale County. And so you have someone like that making decisions on public safety. It's just like me, and I use that example real quick, me going in the hospital and telling a surgeon, you know what, you have way too many patients. I don't think you're doing it the right way. We're going to go this direction, when I've never been in the medical field whatsoever and have no experience whatsoever. But that's what you have making decisions for public safety. It's just, it's crazy.
That's what I mean by be so ever careful with your vote. Do research on people.
Right.
When they run
research.
for something, know what they stand for.
Yeah. You have the same motivation by getting out and running in your ward, the same motivation as you have behind that keyboard on social media.
No. And as mayor, too, like we talk about a plan. What exactly was the plan?
Yeah.
I mean, and when you go into something like that office, I would think, I've never done anything like that, but I would think that you would have a major plan to turn the city, to make the city better. You want it to be better, not
You
run
have to, Candace.
Yeah.
You have to. The next meeting y'all have with city administration, ask the question if they will allow questions. Ask the question. Mayor, you said you've had a plan, correct? Yes, we do. Can you tell me operationally what your plan is operationally and what your plans are logistically to get this public safety issue addressed? We'll wait.
Yeah, I mean,
Call them to it.
Or it's going to take time.
They had no problem.
Time's not on our side.
They had no problem. They had no problem asking Chris Reed when I was the chief. I was doing interviews every single day.
You know, the average person, there's no doubt, doesn't keep it with politics, Meridian. And for years, I didn't know who was on the city council, never paid much attention to it because I felt pretty much safe. I could go anywhere. The average person, they come to town, they don't want to be hurt, and so long as that goes, they kind of stay away from everything. But at this point, I think people have changed that. They don't feel safe anymore, and they want to know who is responsible for making this turn in Meridian. And I see a big surge coming.
Yeah, I see a big surge coming too. And look, here's the deal: don't believe anything that Scotty Ray says, Miss Candace says, or Chris Reed says. We can lie. All right, look at the numbers and look at the facts. So far this year, just this year, we're not even halfway through. We'll be next month. 8 homicides. 35 aggravated assaults, multiple shooting victims that didn't die.
Correct.
All right, just this year, the number of officers that have left is astronomical. All right. So don't listen to us. Look at the numbers. The numbers do not lie, plain and simple. You can't turn those numbers around. You can't say, well, it was the former administration. It's always the former administration's fault. You didn't run on that during your campaign, that once I get in office, it's going to be everything negative is going to be the former administration. No, you didn't run on that. You ran on, I'm going to have a car down every street corner, and the council women and men stood behind you and says, yeah, me and the council plan on recruiting 100 officers, and it is yet to happen. And you won't see that. You won't. Right. You will not see that.
The comments are full of this. All right, this has not been confirmed. I think we're going to have Jimmy rerun for election. I'm pretty sure.
I would hope so.
It has not been released. I think Percy will run again for mayor. That's my gut. Has Percy said that to me? Absolutely not.
Right.
There's rumor that Chris Reed may run for mayor. Any truth to that?
Hey, it's easy for us to sit back and talk about solutions and what we need to get the city back on the right track. I'll say this. I've been here 35 years and lived in Meridian, several places, 10 to 15 of those years, and probably even longer. I just see the unlimited potential that Meridian has. When you have 2 major interstates running through our city limits, when you have a rail system, when you have there's so much industry that we could bring in. Not a fast food restaurant. I'm talking about industry that could come into Meridian because the potential is unlimited, but they are afraid to, because the number one talking point across the nation, not only across the nation but locally, is public safety. Me as a business owner, I'm not going to bring my industry to a place. I'm just not going to, and have 100+ employees to a place that I fear for my employees' safety. I'm just not going to. I'm not going to listen to Chris Reed if I'm a business owner. I'm going to research it online and say, let me look at the numbers. Let me look at the stats. Not really what's going on politically, because you always have, politics involved in stuff. And he said, she said, look at the numbers. And I'm not going to bring industry in here when there's a public safety issue. And there is a public safety issue, not only here, but all over. But when you're not addressing it here, it's going to keep getting worse and worse and worse. You have to be proactive in public safety, Scotty Ray. You cannot be reactive, and this administration has made this department reactive.
So, would you consider running for mayor?
I'll definitely consider running. Most definitely. Look, here's the deal. I'll tell people right now, we're 3+ years away. I'm not a politician, but I'm a leader. And I know how to appoint department heads, and the purpose of a department head is that department head run that department. Not the mayor, not the CAO, not the CFO, that department head. Look up the definition of department head. But if I have a department head that's not a leader, if I'm a mayor and I appoint a department head and a city council appoints a department head and says she's fully capable of doing the job, and then a month later hire a part-time consultant to sit in the background and receive $40,000 a year consulting and overseeing a chief, did you not vote her in because you said, council members, that she was fully capable? And when you came in, you said the city's going to stop spending all this unwanted money, but then you hire a part-time consultant at a full-time rate of pay annually to oversee the chief. Is she capable or is she not? If she's not capable, get rid of her. I don't care if she's black, white, green, yellow, purple, blue, male or female. If you are experienced and can do the job, you're going to run that department. The mayor's not going to run it. You're going to run it because you're a department head. That's your purpose.
Strong words. More coming up as we continue through your morning. It's Thursday with Scotty Ray and Candace.
H&H Residential of Meridian is your #1 carpet and flooring store. If you've been thinking of a new look for your home or office, call for a free estimate or consultation. H&H can install or you can do it yourself. H&H has all of your design needs from color, style, and texture. If you can dream it, H&H can make it a reality. Come see the large selection of hardwood flooring, laminate, vinyl, and even carpet. H&H Residential of Meridian, open Monday through Friday, 9 to 4, 321 Hawkins Crossing Road. Call Rosemary anytime, 601-462-9541.
No matter what hat you wear, if you're hurt on the job, you're gonna need me. I'm attorney Richard Schwartz. Under workers' comp law, you're entitled to certain benefits. But when you're released from the doctor, someone's got to be there to make sure you get a fair settlement. While you're healing, we'll be fighting for you. We've helped thousands of our injured clients get their medical bills paid and recover lost wages. And we're ready to help do the same for you today. One call, that's all.
As hot as it is, sometime today you're going to want a cold drink. And if you're out and about, visit our friends at Maple's One Stop Shop, the absolute cleanest place you'll bump into. Breakfast being served right now as we speak out at the Chevron on St. Paul, or out in Causeyville too. They got a lot of this. Grits, eggs, bacon, even biscuits. You'll like them. And we're getting ready for the menu to be released, what we're going to get for lunch today at both of those locations. A great deli there, tater logs, and a whole lot more. Maples, of course, they've got that loyalty coffee program. That 6 cup of coffee is free. And the list goes on and on of what you can find in there. You're going to find a clean store, makes you feel safe. Just cleanliness, it's good for you. Of course, there's so much to choose from. Lottery tickets, ice cream on a hot summer afternoon. You'll find it there. Maple's One Stop Shop. 6 locations, Bonita, Pine Springs, Causeyville, again at Last Chance, Broadmoor, and the 31st Chevron. See them. That'll take care of you there at Maple's One Stop Shop. Welcome back. As we move along on this Thursday morning, we are getting ready again at Meridian High School this afternoon as we will have the ceremony for Officer Croom that will begin. Family members are coming in from Tuscaloosa. There's also going to be a caravan that will gather between 9 to 9:30 for law enforcement and those who want to travel over for the funeral, leaving from the Meridian Police Department headed that way. We'll go down and take some pictures and put that out. A special moment as they head out.
Yes, it is. You mentioned at 1 o'clock, and I think they're going to have a service in Tuscaloosa as well. Just to show appreciation to the citizens of Meridian and Lauderdale County. If you want a true depiction of support for our law enforcement, and we see it now, we see that there was no response from this administration, and you see that the citizens said we're going to do it regardless, and you see that outpouring. I challenge you to YouTube a video of Lakin Cole's funeral, and it was an officer's daughter that had passed away from cancer several years back, and the huge outpouring of law enforcement supporting that. That's what it's about. That's what true honor and support and brothers and sisters in law enforcement do for one another. And
the family.
The family and current officers now, they long for that, and they were not seeing that from from their leaders, from their bosses, but they are seeing it from the citizens of Meridian and Lauderdale County. And I'm telling you right now, I just want to say a huge thank you to you, the citizens, because y'all have stepped up yet once again, because y'all know what it takes to get this city moving in the right direction. And I commend y'all for getting behind the men and women in law enforcement.
Oh, there's a lot of good folks out there that do this every day.
My goodness.
There he is.
My goodness, yes, it is. And I've been inundated with calls and texts and stuff. And it's an unfortunate situation with Kenneth Croom. You know, I don't even want to fathom what his family's going through. And I know my little girl cried her eyes out. She had a softball game and she was coming back from out of town, and I said, "How was it, baby?" She says, "I'm crying." I said, "What happened at the game?" She said, "No, I'm crying because I found out about Officer Kenneth Croom, and I just read it, and he had an impact." And so yeah, it's but anyway,
we certainly hope the justice system, as this moves forward, and again at this time it's accused. You're not guilty until you're proven guilty in a court of law. But we certainly hope that this is dealt with in the right manner in the court system. We definitely do.
Yeah.
And, you know, one of the most touching things and I'm sure you watched it also, the video when he was cuffed and being brought back and put in Croom's handcuffs. That was a touching moment there. And somebody had told me he had just bought those handcuffs and had his name engraved on those.
Yeah, I don't know. I do, you know, and I guess bad come with the positives as far as the support and stuff. And you're always going to have this in a tragedy. People use social media and people use tragedies for their own glorification and their own attention as attention getters, and it's got, you know, we see that, we see who does that, and it shouldn't be that way, but that's just such as life. We live in a society that's like that. So
let me ask this, Chris, and maybe you know or don't know of budgets and things. Do we have the right equipment for our officers now? Do they need more for protection of what they do? Are we up to date on that in the Meridian area?
Yeah, I know that whenever I was there, and even the former administration, those that were in charge of training and supplies and stuff, that it was their responsibility, because you have a department head, which is the chief of police. Then you have leaders within that department that are over certain divisions. All right, it's their responsibility. The chief can't go around every department and says, "Hey, how are the vests? How are the taser guns? Is everybody up on their certifications and training and things of that nature?" You have a training officer that it's their responsibility. So the chief has to depend on those leaders, but it's important that they have an open communication. That we did have at one point where we had expired bulletproof vests, and that what we would do is whenever they come up for expiration, we would have the vendor contact us, or the supply officer would contact the vendor and says, "Hey, we have 5 that are expiring next month. We need to get 5 more." I've always been a proponent of I'd rather have too much and not need it than need it and not have it. Don't wait for something to happen that says, "Ooh, we need to get extra supplies, equipment, vests, things of that nature." Nothing's foolproof, but as far as the minimum safety things, as far as the vest, we try to make sure that they're not expired when
because that can save a life.
Yeah, it can save a life. Yeah, most definitely. And then you're talking about liability issues as well. So.
Something to think on. We've got more coming up. Scotty Ray and Candace, Chris Reed in with us this morning as we discuss a few things going on in the community, as we have had so many comments. We appreciate each one of these. If you're watching from television, always know that you can come on Facebook. You can go on YouTube and join us. Follow, like us, and comment as we're live. The only thing around quite like it. We'd love for you to be a part of it. More coming up as we start this Thursday morning with you here. The Precast Group, offering you the best selection when it comes to a storm shelter. Located on 145 South in Meridian, where they offer above-ground shelters that can be installed in your home as you're built in. are conveniently located right outside your home if it's already built. They also offer storm shelters that can be installed in a slight bank or on flat ground. Protect your family today with a very affordable storm shelter from the Precast Group. Highway 145 South, 601-482-0003. The Precast Group. Spring is here and it's time to quit spending all of your weekend cutting grass when you could step up to a Skag zero-turn mower. Freeman Tractor in Collinsville has the #1 rated zero-turn mower, Skag, with cutting widths from 36 inches to 72 inches. Skag, the #1 choice of professional landscapers because they know nothing outcuts or outlasts a Skag. 0% financing for 48 months with payments starting as low as $129 a month. Stop by Freeman Tractor on Highway 494 and see coleslaw or buttermilk.
It was a Monday morning on our way to his first day of preschool. We were both nervous and excited. Then someone ran a stop sign. I called Richard Schwartz and he got us the money we deserved.
I'm here for you. One call, that's all.
Now, I know you've heard me talk about Snowden and Company before, but let me tell you, they're good folks right here in our community, and they want to show you around Meridian, Lauderdale County. Maybe you want to go to Clark County. No matter which county you're in here locally, they've got just the home for you. Drop in and visit them. You can do it online, snowdenrealestate.com. They'll be open today through about 5 o'clock here. Here's a house out in Bailey that is just beautiful. A lot of room that you may be looking for one. As we go out to Northeast, you can go there or northward. Now, as we keep looking at this, Dalewood, there's numerous houses out there that you can also, if you like the life on the water, they got it for you. Maybe your life has changed and the house that you've got is too big. Maybe it's too small. Let them know and they'll find the exact house that fits your family. It changes from time to time. Average American will do that. From Lauderdale all the way over to Jackson now, they'll take care of you. Here's Lake Ross Collins. If you want to be out there amongst people, they've got it. Linmore Estates in Marion, a lot of homes to choose from. Call them. These folks chose them. They've been glad that they did. They'll handle all this, make it simple for you. This is Amanda, a negotiating expert. She's great at what she does, and the entire staff there. Call them at 453-3937. Your next home is awaiting you, and they'll make it easy, simple, and, boy, you'll enjoy it there. Yes. Already, 4 minutes before the top of the hour as we get going today?
We need a 2-hour special.
We do. Today needed to be a 2-hour special. It really did.
A lot going on. We will be carrying the live feed from Meridian High School today, so join back. We'll go live with the ceremony as it begins there from Meridian High School, so you can watch that. I went down and checked out everything. Do you realize it was the first time in all my years here that I've ever been in the gym at Meridian High School? Matter of fact, I had to find out where the gym was.
Yeah.
The last time I think I had been there was 1986. Was it 86? George Strait was there. It was the last time I was on the campus.
Yes.
Not going to see George there anymore.
Goodness.
That's been a long time. So what is the next move for Meridian? What do people need to do? What are we doing?
Yeah, I'll say this, and this is just a motivational, I'll call this a little motivational sentence, is if you don't, citizens, I'm speaking to the citizens, if you don't want what happened a year ago and seeing in a drastic 10, 11-month span how decisions, political decisions on political candidates, what they can do to a city from just 10 months ago, 11 months ago. If you don't want what happened 11 months ago in an election, next term, show up and vote. Because if you don't, you may have a person with 359 votes making decisions on your welfare, on your well-being, on your safety. And those city council, you're elected by your ward, but you represent the citizens of Meridian and Lauderdale County. You do not represent yourself. Nobody needs to know who you are. They need to know what you're doing for the safety and the well-being for the citizens of Meridian. And so get out and vote. Have a huge turnout. It's important to get involved. Do I want to get involved? Most definitely if I want to see Meridian turn around, and I believe it has unlimited potential. And we can turn this place around, but it's going to take the citizens of Meridian and Lauderdale County to turn this place around.
I think so many people want to see it go back to how it used to be. You know, a safer city, And
I think
especially
so.
these business owners who have put all this money into their businesses downtown. We have some nice businesses and people, citizens who have lived in the city for many, many years. They just want to live in peace again.
Chris, let me say thank you for coming in. It's been an enlightening show. Again, we'll go live from Meridian High School today at 1 o'clock as we'll bring you the ceremony.
And Kenneth Croom, you're not forgotten. We are honoring you today and the next day and the next day.
Thank y'all for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow morning to end the week on Friday. Thanks for being a part of the show.
The Scotty Ray Report is brought to you by our following partners: